The year was 1950, and with it came the birth of a festival to honor the Puget Sound's maritime heritage. This area billed itself as the boating capital of America. Little did they know, just 1 year later, Seattle would strike the motherlode of boating gold. The slow-mo started it, but others quickly followed, turning sleepy Lake Washington into Hydroplane's version of the Indy 500.
The final quickly turns into a two-boat race between the Shanty and Slow Motion 4.
The Thriftway, Hawaii Kai, and Bardol would lead a group of boats that would become legendary and would keep Seattle and Seafair at the forefront of the boating motorsports world. Now, 60 years after Stan Sayers brought hydro racing to Seattle, the boats look more like something from Star Wars, and most sport jet turbine engines instead of piston power. They glide through the water, barely touching the surface. And then there were those times they actually try and take flight, which is never a good idea. This is Seafair. This is the Hydro World Series and Super Bowl combined. And it's where the drivers all dream to be.
My first race in 1994 as a driver was and managed to win it. So it was a special time to be able to do something that everybody thought was impossible, but made it possible.
I finally got my opportunity in '04 to race at Seafair, and it was a dream come true.
I had heard about Seattle before, but had no idea really what it was and what Seafair in the bigger picture was. And you realize it was just a huge event. And I can remember sitting in the water, getting strapped in, and looking out across the lagoon at the people on the beach, and it suddenly hit me, I'm going to drive a race boat at Seafair.
Today, there will be lots of race boats churning up the Lake Washington waters. The original boys of summer are back in town, which means it must be time to go racing at Seafair.
In high definition, this is the Budweiser Startup Show. Brought to you by Budweiser, the Great American Lager, by Beacon Plumbing. Stop freaking, call Beacon at 1-800-FREAKIN. And by Comcast and the new HD Triple Play with free HD, faster internet, and unlimited calling. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Call it the calm before the storm. This is about as calm as it'll be today on Lake Washington. By 3 p.m., you could probably walk the entire log boom without getting wet because there will be hundreds, if not thousands, of boaters on the lake. There will also be families by the score lining the shoreline, getting their favorite spot to watch the action. And there will be lots of action. You're going to see 14 boat races and more than a half dozen air show acts on the 60th Seafair Sunday, right here on KIRO 7. Good morning to you. I'm Angela Russell.
I'm Steve Rabel, and we are sitting high atop the pits here along the shores of Lake Washington. There's our little perch, and we will be with you for a long time today. Welcome to our Budweiser Startup Show. It is a great morning out here, already starting to warm up. You ready?
I'm ready.
We're all ready. We will be with you here on KIRO 7 for at least 8 hours of live coverage, live continuous coverage throughout the day of the air show, the boat races. This is the 60th Seafair celebration, and we are very lucky, as always, to celebrate this beginning of our day of coverage with our good friend Chip Hanauer. Been a decade with us here in the broadcast booth. It's always great to have him along with us.
He's the man.
He is. He really is.
Check your facts. It can't be a decade. Something's wrong here.
Oh, my goodness. Well, the facts are we did have 6 races yesterday. We got 8 going on today. What are your thoughts?
Well, hopefully we can see some tape of these two combatants because we've got Dave Vilwalk in the Elstrom boat, and he is a aggressive guy. And he's going to try and slit your throat every time he goes out there in the boat. And then there's you're looking at Dave Vilwalk there. That's the bright orange boat. You're going to want to watch him all day. And then the guy just to the inside, there you go. That's the Alberta boat, and that's driven by Steve David. And he's more of a play the percentages kind of guy. He tries to get what the boat will get and hope that the other guys make a mistake. That worked perfectly for him last week in Tri-Cities, and he won.
Okay. And, we were talking about Jean Theoret, who had to pull out of the race because, that crash he had, the horrible crash. And he said he was mentally ready, but not physically. What goes on inside the boat that's so difficult that you got to have so much stamina?
Well, Angela, I think people think, right, when they see the boats gliding over the water, it looks so effortless, and they think it's like driving their car, but it's actually like going over Niagara Falls in a 55-gallon steel drum with somebody beating on it with a lead pipe. It's really violent. not in a word.
That's why we have him up here for those kinds of descriptions.
Right.
Go over that barrel, over those falls in this kind of heat. What does this mean for the racers and their machines today?
Well, it's a good question because these engines actually start losing power after about 86 degrees. So the team that can maintain the most amount of power in the heat, losing the least amount of power, is going to have an advantage. I think that goes to the Elstrom team because they've got some really sharp technicians there.
And you guys, the drivers?
The drivers, when you're in the boat, you're so focused and you're so thinking about what you're doing, you don't feel anything. You're virtually numb. But the minute you get out, you're sweating.
You making any predictions?
Well, I would like to see a dark horse come out. We keep focusing on the Elstrom boat and the Alberta boat, but there's some young guys. Jeff Bernard in the Formula boat, he could mix it up.
Okay.
Chip Hanauer, as always, and he will be with us for the entire 8 hours today. So, Chip, thank you for all that. We'll talk to you in just a bit. By the way, while you are barbecuing and having a great time out there today, here's what you're going to see between your hot dogs and your hamburgers and your lemonades. You're watching the Budweiser Startup Show, which begins 8 hours, as we said, of coverage that includes 14 races. The opening ceremonies of the Chevy Cup begin at 10 o'clock this morning, and then shortly after that, we will show you unlimited heats 1A and 1B. Now, the first live racing is set for 10:40. That's unlimited heat 2A. Are you following along here? We will have complete U.S. Navy Blue Angels action for you at 1:30 this afternoon. And throughout the day, we'll bring you even more coverage of the Key Bank Air Show. And that, of course, will lead us to the Unlimited Lights Championship at 4:20 this afternoon. And finally, the Unlimited Hydroplane Chevy Cup Championship at 4 bells.
Now, if you have to leave home today, be sure to tune in to KJR AM Radio. You get a lot there if you check us out. We're going to be pleased to be part of their coverage. KJR will broadcast throughout the day, but come race time, you'll hear our KIRO 7 team calling all the action. You'll even be able to listen to Steve during the Blue Angels Air Show. And if you're near your computer, you can also watch live streaming of the Chevy Cup all day today at KIROTV.com.
And I do want to remind folks, when you're watching the Blue Angels, either on television or outside, be listening to the commentary as well, because it is really interesting to hear how all of that performance comes together and what those pilots are doing up there.
Okay.
They're not just faking it, folks. It's a lot of hard work.
It's the real deal.
As we talked with Chip about a couple of moments ago, heat, the weather is going to be a factor here today.
Absolutely. Rebecca Stevenson is with us. Rebecca, it was beautiful yesterday. Is it going to be even hotter today?
Well, if you like the heat, then this might be the place to be, especially if you're up in the park. Now, today we're seeing some nice sunshine out there. There are a lot of high clouds to start the day, and it might feel a little bit humid, but if you get closer to the water, a nice cool breeze is starting your day. Temperature right now is 65 degrees at SeaTac with mostly sunny skies. The wind's pretty light, about 5 miles an hour, and they're pretty variable this morning. Now, as we look at our visible satellite picture, you can see where all the low clouds were to start your day on the coast and in parts of the South Sound, even near Shelton, burning off pretty fast. We're going to see more and more sunshine for everybody this afternoon. Current temperatures across western Washington. Definitely warmer in that hydroplane that's taking off right now, but 65 in Seattle, 66 in Tacoma, starting at a cool 55 for Forks. We are going to continue to see wind speeds picking up through the afternoon. Right now, they're coming out of the west-southwest, 5 miles an hour for Seattle. But if you look at our wind forecast, you'll see how the winds between 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. are going to stay pretty light and variable. Of course, near the water, they're going to start to pick up a little bit more and more. As we move into the afternoon, they'll continue to increase. So we're expecting them up to 5 to 15. In fact, coming out of the north, up to 20 miles an hour in the late afternoon and then gradually diminishing. So what can you expect this afternoon? Definitely some warmer temperatures and some breezier winds. A high of 91 in Seattle, 93 in Olympia. We're expecting even 73 out at Forks. It's going to be a very warm day here at the Hydro races. Again, feeling a little muggy in the park, a little warmer temperatures if you're up walking around all the visits and getting some of the fine food offered out here, especially Oberto and those great sausages they have. However, if you're near the water, it's going to be a little cooler. We'll start out in the mid-70s by noontime. By 3 o'clock this afternoon, in the mid to upper 80s by 5 o'clock, into the low 90s. So yes, it will be hotter, Angela, but that nice breeze off the water, this is the best place to be.
Well, it just feels weird complaining because we just came out of like 104 degrees.
Well, because usually about 85 and up is pretty warm for us here. So we just don't want it to be any warmer than that. So we're definitely on the hot side.
And what you find is it's a kind of a double-edged sword. That breeze feels good, but it can be a problem for the boats out on the water.
Right.
They cause rollers, and that causes some some problems. Chip Hanauer's been up in the air a few times on this course, as have many drivers. Rebecca, we will see you, of course, more throughout the afternoon, right?
Yes, I've got more information too. We're going to talk about what the rainiest, coolest Seafairs are. I've got some more information coming up. We'll go into that a little bit later and keep you up to date in the temperatures and just how hot it's getting throughout the day.
I remember one of those bad weather days too. Really remember it. Rebecca, thanks. We'll see you in a few minutes. We are just getting started this morning. Again, we will be with you till at the very least 5 o'clock this afternoon.
That's right. Standing by at the start-finish tower are the two greatest hydro play-by-play men in hydro racing history. We're going to meet the voice of unlimited hydroplane racing, our own Mike Fitzsimmons, plus the great Pat O'Day when we come back with more of the Budweiser Startup Show. It's all part of the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair. We'll be right back here on KIRO 7. I tell you, it's a scene you just never tire of. This has been happening since the early 50s, and I'm sure that some of the folks here today have been coming to Lake Washington since the very beginning of Seafair. Welcome back to the shores of beautiful Lake Washington. You know, since 1986, KIRO 7 has been your exclusive Seafair station. And over those 20-plus years, there's just been one voice of hydro racing in Seattle.
We are so pleased to have him back because he is a trooper, first of all, and secondly, he really knows his stuff. Mike Fitzsimmons is that man. Pleased to have him back at the start-finish tower again. Michael, welcome, and you have been looking into the two top teams in this Seafair celebration this weekend. What have you found?
I have indeed, and of course, as Chip mentioned, it's the Elam boat and it is the Oberto boat, and these folks have a race within a race going on here on Lake Washington. Obviously, they want to win the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair, but there's something more happening. This is a very brief season we have, and it's national championship points that these folks are working with, and we have a very tight race occurring here. Over in Tri-Cities, of course, with the Columbia Cup last week, when the boats arrived, this boat, the Elam Plus, was the #1 boat, and she had a lead of nearly 300 points. Let's look at the numbers here now with respect to this. Here's how they charted up as they came into the Tri-Cities. The Elam Plus was ahead by 299 points or 277 points or whatever it was, and they moved into competition over there. The Elam hoping to hang on to the lead, the defending national champion, oh boy, Oberto, trailing. Well, they ran into a whole lot of bad luck, not physical bad luck from the standpoint of the engines or any kinds of problems occurring. They ran into bad luck with respect to the rule book and a few other things. And when they came out of the Tri-Cities, lo and behold, they're trailing by 500 points nearly. And then they qualified here, and the Elam was the fastest, but the oh boy Oberto, which you're going to look at right now, the oh boy Oberto was picked on the inside in the first heat of the day yesterday. We're going to see that coming up in just a little while. And the Elam was able to pick up 100 more points. So as we stand right now, we're at 400, approximately 400 points difference. If you look at the chart here, here's where it lies as we go into the second stanza of heats today, that with the Elam Plus behind by about 400 points. That's about the difference between a win and a loss in a single heat. So that's going to be a real battle going on. There's only one more race in the United States, possible race in Qatar, in Doha, Qatar, coming up, which would also add into the point spread. But if it doesn't, or even if it does, this could be right down to the wire for national points. So this is a very, very, very important race for both of these clubs today.
Absolutely. And Mike, how do you think the drivers are doing with the new rules?
Well, I think they're doing all right with the new rules. It takes some of the complication out, but as Chip observed earlier this week, it also takes the driver out, particularly in the score-up processes. We know where they're going to start and what lanes, predicated on their performance in the qualifying for the first heat, and then, of course, on their pick of lanes, reversing from their pick from the first, and then the cumulative points in heats 3 in the final heat. So we already know where that takes a little drama out of the starts. But the bottom line is, as we get moving, we're going to be going faster and faster and faster through the afternoon. And as Rebecca mentioned, that wind, and we're watching that southwest, and Chip knows what I'm talking about, the old Genesee Gap. If it's a south-southwest wind, and she said it is, and near the water it's going to be picking up this afternoon, that's when the boats are going faster and faster and faster. and the outside boats become the most vulnerable, and that changes perhaps the strategy in terms of whether you want to be on the outside. Yesterday was a great day to be on the outside for Dave Villwock and the Elam, but today, yeah, I don't know. Late in the afternoon, that might not be the wisest pick.
Mike, in a word, is it a two-boat race?
I think it's a three-boat race. Chip observed that the FormulaBoats.com is a competitor. I like what I'm seeing there, and there's some spoilers. J.W. Myers is going to be in that 37 boat, the Haas Mortgage boat, and J.W. Myers is a serious racer. He hasn't raced in a while. He filled in for Jean Thioret, but this guy's a pedal-to-the-metal kind of a driver, and he's the kind of wild card factor that strategies have to wonder what's this going to do to the lay of the land when we get racing. Well, he will be a factor, I'll guarantee it.
All right, Mike Fitzsimmons at the start-finish line. Michael, thank you. We will be back to you many, many times during the course of the day.
All right, now our KIRO 7 sports director, Gard Swanson, is going to be covering the boats in the pits all day. And right now, he's with one of the teams that Mike just mentioned, the U16 Elstrom Elam Plus.
Hey, Gard.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, you guys are talking about sleepers, who can maybe get in there, top three boats, who's the boat to beat? It's this guy right here. It seems like every year, Dave Villwock and the Miss Elam Plus. And what's up with you guys? You guys are so dominant here all the time. I know it has to do with you, it has to do with your crew, and here we are, another final Sunday.
Well, we've had hot and cold days here. Last year we really made a lot of changes to our setup, and it's helped us. And we brought those forward into this year and immediately changed the boat to that again. So, I think boat ride, we're in pretty good shape. We can run fast from the outside, and that's going to be important. And early heats, water's going to be good. Later on, it's supposed to blow 15 to 20, so game's going to completely change this afternoon.
You got on the water this morning. I talked to one of your crew members. He said, hey, the steering's a little bit loose. He didn't like it so much. So you guys are tinkering with that right now.
Yeah, we're always just working on whatever little thing that we can see that is an imperfection. And so the steering just had a little bit of play, and it is fine really, but we're just looking at trying to prevent that problem.
You guys run really well yesterday. What's it like for a driver between Saturday night and Sunday morning? Can you get sleep? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, I slept well. We went out. We had a great party out at the Elstrom house and brought a lot of people out there, and had a good relaxing time out on the lawn, and got a good night's sleep and set up for a good race day. We didn't have all the problems we had last week, so easier to get focused.
You and I talked a little bit about strategy yesterday for a long time. Anything you want to share with us this morning? What you might be thinking, despite the wind that you had talked about maybe later this afternoon?
Yeah, well, we're just going to have to race hard. This format is not about the time before the start, it's about the time after the start, the actual race itself. So we raced well from the inside positions, and now we have to move to the outside positions. Again, we have to race well from there and get as many points as we can, and then hopefully get a pretty good position the next time and work our way towards a better lane position in the final. So we just got to keep working all day, keep working, and if we do a good job of that, then we should be there in the final.
Real quick, who are you worried about? What other boat?
Oh, there's 4 or 5 of them out here. The 3 boats fast.
Don't sandbag me. Come on, tell me who.
Yeah, Steve David's as fast as we are in the Alberto. So, and the 2, I've won this race in both the 5 and the 7 from Formula. So those boats are good, and the 37 can be a dark horse. So who knows?
Let's go racing.
Let's go racing. So that's why they make us race.
All right, Steve, Angela, back up to you guys.
That's great, Gard, holding his feet to the fire on those questions. Gard was mentioning the wind, and we always can tell when it starts to come in because papers go flying, but it's definitely starting to pick up a bit.
It's a blessing up here. Not so much for the water, but it's a blessing up here for us
Absolutely.
On the tower. When we come back, we are going to meet the inimitable one, KIRO 7 color commentator, the incomparable Pat O'Day.
Plus, one of the biggest stories here today will be the U37 team. Their primary driver is Jean Thioret, but it'll be backup driver J.W. Myers in the boat today. Our Jenny Hogan talks with him when we come back with more of the Budweiser Startup Show right here on KIRO 7.
They are already packing the log boom this morning. In fact, here on Lake Washington, there are so many boats. This was yesterday, there were so many boats. It looked like a Sunday, and there sure to be more today. Log boom, a very popular location during Seafair, and especially on a warm, sunny Seafair Sunday. Welcome back. We're getting closer to racing hydroplanes and closer to the air show, all of which is coming up here during this live broadcast. You know, no one has called more Seafair races here in Seattle than the inimitable one, Pat O'Day.
I think this is his 43rd consecutive year, either broadcasting Seafair on radio or television. But Pat, you remember the first Seafair. You know, this is the 60th anniversary. Can you take us back there for a minute?
Well,
Reminisce?
I do, Angela. It was at Green Lake in the Aqua Theater. It was much larger than if you've ever seen the grandstands out there. And they had an event called Aqua Follies with divers coming off of tall towers and synchronized swimmers. And then came the slow motions and unlimited hydroplane racing in 1951. And Seafair caught fire. And, well, here it is today, 60 years later, Angela.
Hey, Pat, you talking about racing, you've owned boats, you've had drivers working for you. What do you see out of these teams out here today? Who do you like?
I see such a high degree of professionalism and really a great competitive match between 5 of the boats are only 1 mile apart in qualifications. And of course, we've got the Elam and the Oberto, but look out for Jeff Bernard. But then at the end of the day, who knows what will happen? We've had surprise after surprise year after year. That's what keeps the folks coming back and announcers like me just tingling with excitement.
And Pat, who do you think was put at a disadvantage? Which driver was put at a disadvantage, you think, by the new rules, the start rules?
I think the disadvantage falls to Vilwalk because he's so skilled. He always found the right lane, and now it ain't necessarily his choice.
Pat, before we go, a thought about the celebration that is Seafair today. The parties along the shore, the families that you see, the parties at the homes up on the hill here. It really is a community-wide celebration, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and I'm so proud it has such legs. Seafair's done such a great job, and I mentioned last night on the show, I think we've arrived at an event that has perpetuity to it. I think 60 years from now, our grandchildren and their grandchildren will be able to come to these hallowed shores, enjoy Blue Angels, enjoy hydroplanes, enjoy the joy that is Seafair.
All right, Pat, thank you so much. We always enjoy your words of wisdom and that perspective he was able to give by talking about the first Seafair, Green Lake.
And we will hear from Pat much more during the course of the day.
That's right. Also in the pits today, getting all the inside info, covering the teams, we've got our traffic reporter, Jenny Hogan.
Now, one of her assignments is going to be following the U-37, the Haas Mortgage Investors team. Jenny, the Schumachers are going to have a new driver in that boat today with J.W. Myers. Is he ready? Is he excited about his opportunity today?
Well, I'm standing right in the middle of Camp Myers, as you see. We've got JW next to me, and then his father, mother, sister, and grandma too. JW, are you ready for today?
Yeah, we ran the boat this morning. The boat ran really, really well. First time I got in the boat for the weekend was this morning, so we're very excited. The team's very excited to bring everybody on board. I wish the circumstances were different. Jean does a great job. He's a first-class guy. As I mentioned before, he got out of the boat yesterday, and he just knew that he couldn't give 150% that he always gives. So that part, that's not the way I wanted to get the job, but I got his back.
Well, I heard that he actually was the one that handpicked you as the backup person.
That's a compliment. I take that. For the whole crew, unanimously chose me. So I've raced with these guys in the past, and they're nothing but the best.
And I noticed you had an engine change. Is that going to affect your racing today?
Actually, we just pulled one motor out of the truck and it's sitting on the ground here. We haven't changed it, but we got one that's ready to go. Just stay ahead of the curve, because it's later this afternoon is when everything counts in the final heat.
And you may be pulled out of obscurity for this race, but you're no stranger to hydroplane racing. I'm just going to introduce your dad here to everyone, Papa Myers. And when did you put J-Dub in a boat?
He was actually about 6 weeks old when he first got in a boat. And he started racing when he was 9, so he's had a long ways. He's 37 now, so he's been in a boat a long time.
Great. Well, what's it going to be like watching him out there?
No different than it has been in the past. It's probably safe for him being in that boat than when he got here this morning by car. So
we'll all be cheering in that safe boat, and good luck tomorrow, J-Dub. Back to you, Steve and Angela.
6 weeks old, Jenny, is he serious?
6 weeks old, I know. How did he do it 6 weeks?
I don't know.
Well,
We actually just pushed him around the lake a little bit.
So he did pretty good.
Oh my goodness, Jenny. All right, we'll talk to you later. You know, one of the fun things we get to do here is meet many of you. KIRO 7, we have a booth at Genesee Park, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Here is the list of the KIRO 7 anchors and reporters that you will be meeting today. They are our colleagues who bring you the news each and every night at KIRO 7. In fact, Angela is going to be at the booth at about 1:30 this afternoon. So stop by anytime today, have your photo taken, a great time you will have, and we hope to see you there. And we have much more ahead here on our startup show this morning, including the opening ceremonies of the 2009 edition of the Chevrolet Cup.
Now the gates are open and thousands of people are heading to their favorite spots around Lake Washington. We'll find out how early some of those fans got here this morning. It's going to be a beautiful day here on the lake, and we'll be right back with more of the Budweiser Startup Show, so don't go away.
We also talked about one of the big racing stories that surrounds this Seafair celebration we have here at Lake Washington, and that's the new rules on how the drivers now get pre-assigned lanes at the start of their races.
Right, very interesting. One of the officials who ultimately made the call to do this from the American Boat Racing Association, Sam Cole, he joins us now to give us some insight into the decision. I know that it's safe to say there are some drivers not happy about this change at all.
But there are some drivers that are happy about the change as well.
That's a nice way to put it. Right.
You know, it's working. I can't say that I'm overly excited about it. I really want to see drivers drive, but it's something we had to do with the state of the sport and where we were at. And I think, you know, it's a constant evolution. We have people here from New Zealand and Australia. We're actually experimenting with GPS, which will show us exactly the speed of the boat and how fast it's going. And I would say long term, that's the future, and would let us go back to establishing a minimum speed and then letting the drivers fight for lanes.
Sam, is it fair to say that at least part of this decision, based on what happened here a year ago, in fact, and the fact that it looked like we had a winner, then we didn't really know, and then it took an hour or so for us to really figure out who won this race?
Actually, we knew who it was the whole time. It just some people didn't want to accept it. But I would say that was a part of it. But we've been experimenting with the starts for the better part of the last 3 years. I'm a big proponent of flying starts. I think that's what fans come out here to see. And I think we owe it to the drivers. You don't get the best race boat drivers in the world and tell them how to drive their boat. And so we've just got to do some things with these boats to make it safe, but at the same time make it exciting. And I really think the GPS is the wave of the future for us.
Now, can you sum up how the selection process works now?
I'm going to do my best.
Yes.
It's not necessarily assigned, it is selected.
Right.
In each set of heats, there's different criteria. So the first set of heats yesterday, it was basically on how you qualified. So the fastest boat got to pick the lane first, and so on down the line. This set of heats, the boats with the fewest points got to select lanes first. So I think like in the B heat, you've got the U3, and then you've got the U17, and then you've got the two fast boats, the U1 and the U16 in there. So the further out they go, the more points they had. In the round 3, it goes back to points, and in the final, the boat with the most points gets to select the inside lane. Surprisingly yesterday, Dave Vilwalk was the fastest qualifier, but he picked lane 2, and I think that was a strategy. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens today out there. So the good part is the drivers know where they have to start, and, you know, we just have to make sure they get there at the right time.
Well, and safe to say, too, that aside from all of the process that goes into it, we're seeing great racing out there. Boats are closer together than ever before, and that part of it is fun. And, Sam, you guys do a great job enforcing all the rules, and we appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Sam
This
Cole.
is going to be a big day.
It is. We're all looking forward to it. Thanks, Sam.
All right, coming up, he's one of Seafair's longtime supporters. He's going to have 2 boats racing with his name on them today.
That's right. Rob Graham is the sponsor of the U7 Graham Trucking. You might have seen that scary flip that they suffered in Tri-Cities last weekend. Will they be ready to race today? We'll let you know as the Budweiser Startup Show continues right here on KIRO 7.
KIRO 7.
Work continues in the Stan Sayers pits this morning as the Hydros prepare for a long day of racing here at the Chevy Cup. And this is one boat that needed a lot of work just to get here. We're talking about the U7 Graham Trucking. Welcome back to the Budweiser Startup Show. That Graham Trucking boat was upside down on the Columbia River last Sunday.
That's right. Did you see the amazing footage of that crash? I mean, if you didn't see it, check this out. You know, here it is from inside the cockpit, which is pretty amazing. Everything appeared to be going great from J. Michael Kelly until he got clearance from the tower to take off. Literally, it looks like the plane is getting airborne. That is until it comes crashing into the river and lands upside down. Now, Kelly got out through the escape hatch and is doing okay.
Here is a version from the shore. We've seen it now from inside the cockpit. And these kind of things just take your breath away. I've talked to many drivers who've been through this, and the thing they talk about is how quiet it suddenly gets when that boat gets up in the air. One man in particular on pins and needles, glad to see his driver get out of that thing in one piece, and now has been working feverishly to get that boat back out on the water, is longtime Seafair and U7 Hydro sponsor Rob Graham. Rob, thank you, first of all, for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Steve.
Your thoughts when you saw that thing go up in the air?
I think my heart stopped. It was first thing I thought about was, you know, I don't want to see anybody getting hurt, and especially if we've become pretty good friends, me and Mike, outside of racing, and I felt like I lost my breath. So first thing I thought of was we yelled down to the dock and made sure he was on the radio. They said no, but that they saw he was getting out. So we were thrilled and just happy he was okay. And then we actually thought the boat was okay. We thought that everything was going to be fine up until literally the time they put it on the trailer. And once they put it on the trailer, we noticed the boat was broken in half, and you couldn't see it while it was hanging, draining. And so at that point, they knew their work was cut out for them.
Can you describe for us how many hours it's taken to get this boat ready again? I mean, is it like around the clock? Is it on? What's it like?
They actually worked in shifts, and they got down here late Monday morning, and they started a chain of things, and they worked. I would come by a few times during the day. By about 5 o'clock, you could see the people switching out. They would actually switch out crew guys so one group could go and rest, and now the other group is starting again.
Final question, in a word, you've been a sponsor for a long time. You must enjoy it. You must like the sport. You must like being a part of all this.
I love everything about this. I love the people, mostly. A lot of my great friends are down here, and I love everything about it. I love working with KIRO. I love working with Seafair. This is awesome. This is my favorite of any race. I like Chelan too, but this is my favorite of everything. I love this place. So.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks, Rob.
Well,
good luck today, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, well, we're getting closer to racing here on Lake Washington, which means we're also getting closer to seeing some of the air show acts.
We will show you the schedule for the amazing Blue Angels. Today, also, I'll introduce you to the lead pilot. He's the one they call Boss. You're watching the Budweiser Startup Show here on KIRO 7. We have waited all year for the big boys to get back out on the water. It's time to go Thunderboat racing with the unlimited hydroplanes, Heat 1A. And here are the storylines. Can Jean Thioret forget the tragedy in Madison? Is he ready to race? How about that young gun, Jeff Bernard? Is he finally a veteran hand? We'll find out. And what about J. Michael Kelly? Is his boat patched up and ready after a blowover in the Tri-Cities? We'll get some answers coming up in Heat 1A.
Heat 1A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Papa Murphy's, thanking everyone in and around the Sound for making us #1. Handmade fresh, home-baked great. That's Papa Murphy's. And is presented for Seafair by Graham Trucking, the intermodal container solution.
And taking a look at the boats in Unlimited Heat 1A, there's Haas Mortgage Investors, Jean Thioret, Formula Boats, U.S. Northwest Express, the Red Dot Boat, Graham Trucking, J. Michael Kelly at the controls, MissAirbagService.com, that's Mike Webster, and the Leland Unlimited Mirage Boats. Greg Hopp jumps over from the Unlimited Lights. That's the Muckleshoot Casino lineup, and here is your course condition brought to you by Comcast. Temperature's gone up to 80 degrees. The boats are lined up. They are ready to go. How about a fastest qualifier, Patrick?
Jack in the Box congratulates the Formula boats, and Jeff Bernard qualified at 149.005 miles an hour. And Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on their menu any time of day. Let's go.
They are in their lanes, getting ready to race. Let's go to the man, the voice of hydroplane racing, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Jean Thierret, first time racing since he had that near drowning experience at Madison, Indiana, will have the inside lane. Next to him, it's the Formula boats. U.S. Northwest Express right outside of him. Graham Trucking in the 4-lane. The 5-lane, it's the Leland Unlimited and the U-22, the airbag services. We've got a good start here as they come roaring down. Thierret is lagged back already, and it looks like Kip Brown is going to try to lead him through in the lane 3.
Mike,
and down there we have Chip Hanauer.
Mike, I was a little surprised that John Thierret was as late at the line as he was, but going through that first corner, I think he's going to come out dead even with everybody, if not ahead.
He did get a slingshot effect there, and he now has a little nose lead, just a little bit of a lead. And there's a 4-boat side-by-side race going on here with both the 5 and the 7 boat right up there tucked inside. We've got a dandy battle going in to the upper corner now. Here's Kip Brown leaping through the upper turn in the U-17 boat, and right at the moment he's got Jean Thierret just inside of him, but also the FormulaBoats.com is moving up as well with Jeff Bernard, and at the start-finish line, the end of lap number 1, it's a photo finish.
It's a dead heat at 139 miles an hour. 132 for the Formula on the first time around.
Back through the lower corner now, Chip Hanauer, and it looks like Thierret's got himself the lead again.
Mike, I just want to emphasize the man you see leading this boat race, the last time he was in a race, he was brought to shore with rescue workers pumping his chest. Look at how well he's driving after that. It's amazing.
That was at Madison, Indiana, when he took several gulps of water and virtually drowned. But now he, and the question was, does he have the spirit to go after it? Looks like he certainly does. Whoa, a big hop in that upper corner there as he loses the skid fin for a moment and jumps aside about 10 or 15 feet. But Jeff Bernard is just not letting up. He's working up from the outside right now. Boss Mortgage Investors comes across the line now to end lap number 2 in first place, just a couple boat lengths back. It's Jeff Bernard in the FormulaBoat.com.
Mike, I can't tell you how difficult that is to have that psychological, memory of the horrible race he had, and he remembers basically signing off, saying, "I'm not going to survive this," when he took that second gulp of water. And look at him drive here. We've seen him do this a number of times in Seattle, and I tell you, it makes my heart, it really warms my heart to see him
And
doing
he
this.
isn't slowing down. Chip, he turned the second lap at 139.822 miles an hour.
Take a look at Jeff Bernard now. He is not going to let up. Okay, if this guy's come to race, Bernard says, never mind what happened in the past. I'm going to try to take him here in the upper corner, and he is really muscling that boat through the upper turn on the final time around. Jeff Bernard on the outside and Jean Thierret on the inside, and we're going to have a nose-to-nose drag race down to the start-finish line. Jeff Bernard's got a little more beans, it looks like, maybe a little more speed, and the FormulaBoats.com just by one boat length lead takes the victory here in Heat 1A.
That was a great boat race. That was youth and exuberance against a lot of maturity and, just an amazing amount of experience. So that was a good race. I think it's going to be an indication of what we're going to see all day long today.
So what does this tell us about Jean Thierret in terms of whether or not he's come to race? I think he has.
I think he has, and even though he's going to be a little upset that he didn't win that heat, I think you're going to see not only a happy Jean Thierret, I think you're going to see a really happy team and a lot of warm greetings when he gets back to the dock. Although his wife may not be so happy. I talked to them the other night, and he told me about the experience of almost dying, and he said, "Chip, it was okay because I'm ready to go." And his wife said, "Well, frankly, I'm not ready for you to go."
Can't blame her, can you?
Well, the order of finish was Formula Boats, followed by Haas Mortgage and Jean Thierret, then Kip Brown, followed by number 7, J. Michael Kelly, and the other red boat, Graham Trucking, and finally Greg Hopp in the 100, Fred Leland Racing, and he toured the course at an average speed of 125 miles an hour.
So you're looking at the unofficial winner of Heat 1A, Jeff Bernard, in that former Budweiser boat. Let's head down to the pits and guard Swanson.
Thanks, Raves. And Jeff, man, first heat, and you're coming out flying. Talk about getting out of the gates quickly.
Yeah, we tried to nail the start there. Kip Brown, my brother-in-law, made an awesome start in lane 3. Left us plenty of room going into turn 1, and went out the backstretch. We were pulling both of them up. Well, we had the 37 already. Went into turn 2, and it was a little rough down there from when we were making a start. He made up a lot of ground, and then we went back down to turn 1 on the end of lap 1, hit a huge roller, and man, they gave up about 4 boat lengths, and we just kept digging. And this is about the 4th weekend in a row we've struggled during qualifying, and every time we come out for the heat, come to heat racing, my team somehow puts it together. Couldn't do it without FormulaBoats.com, Graham Trucking, and all of our sponsorship, and last but not least, my crew. And this one's for Terry.
All right, good luck the rest of the weekend.
Thank you.
All right, guys, back to you. Good, thanks very much. Jenny Hogan is with John Theoret, and what must have been, Jenny, a bittersweet moment to get back into that boat.
Steve, yeah, we just got him out of the boat here, and Jean, a bittersweet moment to get back in the boat.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's really rough out there. We got a bit late at the start, and we finished 2nd place, but it's good for the Haas Mortgage Company, and the American family. And this whole team does a fantastic job. They work so hard, so thank God for the 2nd place.
And how about you? How was it to get back in that boat?
It was pretty good, but I'm tired now. I missed a bit of stamina, but I'm tired, and we just got to get that boat to calm down a bit and go faster.
And I know you don't see what's happening on the sidelines, but we have Jane, the co-owner here, Jane Schumacher, and just tell me about watching him out there.
It's always very nerve-wracking for me, and there was the wind that was up, so the boat was rocking a bit, and after that accident, it's just hard to watch and not be nervous and worried. So,
well, I know I had you here to wait for this interview, but you can give him a hug right now. I know you're very proud of your driver. Okay, back to you guys.
Well, that was yesterday. This is today. Live pictures of that boat, and Chip Hanauer no longer is the driver. John Theoret going to be at the controls.
No, that'll be J.W. Myers. I talked to John last night, and he said the spirit was there, but he didn't have the wind.
So here are the official results of Heat 1A again from yesterday, the Muckleshoot results. You see Formula Boats, Haas Mortgage, the Express Red Dot, Graham Trucking, the Leland Unlimited, and the Airbag Services. When we come back, Heat 1B, again taped yesterday. Have all the action for you right here from the shores of Lake Washington after this.
Heat 1A of the Chevy Cup at Seafair has been brought to you by Papa Murphy's. Thanking everyone in and around the Sound for making us #1. Handmade fresh, home-baked great. That's Papa Murphy's.
Congratulations to Jeff Bernard and the FormulaBoats.com, the winner, the Geico photo finish winner of Heat 1A. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit us at geico.com.
We had a great competitive Heat 1A. How about 1B for the Unlimiteds? Let's take a look at the storylines. And the 2 fastest boats are right there side by side. Steve Davis won last week in Tri-Cities. Dave Villwock won here last year. What's going to happen in this heat? And also, we've got some thunder back on the water. It's Jimmy King, and that's Heat 1B.
Heat 1B of the Chevy Cup at Seafair is brought to you by Comcast. If you have home phone service, Comcast could save you money. Call 1-800-COMCAST. And is presented for Seafair by Key Bank, proud sponsor of the Key Bank Air Show.
Here now, your Muckleshoot Casino lineup from first all the way out to lane 5. Oh boy, Alberto inside. Dave Villwock in the Elam Plus in lane 2. Grandview on the lake in 3. Jones Racing is in 4. That's David Williams piloting, and the Whirlpool Miss Albert Lee with Brian Perkins at the controls in lane 5. Here's your course conditions. Climbing are the temperatures, 83 degrees, but the wind lightening up just inside of a minute. How about the fastest boat on the water, Patrick?
Well, Jack in the Box congratulates Villwock and his orange Elstrom Elam Plus, ripped around the course at 154 miles, 154.317 miles an hour, picks the number 2 lane, and Jack in the Box, where you can get anything on the menu, any time of day, Mike Fitzsimmons.
Thank you very much, Patrick. They're up into the upper corner now, and of course, based on their qualifying speeds in this first stanza, the choice of lanes went to Dave Villwock. He took number 2, likes that better. He's going to try to keep the Oh Boy Alberto inside of him. He's going to test Steve David right away. In lane 3, it's the Grandview on the lake. That's the U3 boat, the Allison-powered boat with Jimmy King. Jones Racing with David Williams, and on the outside, we have the U48 Whirlpool presents Albert Lee. Here they come to the line. Good start, and right away, we hook up the Elam and the Oh Boy Alberto no surprise there. The Alberto is right on the buoy line, the Elam right outside, and the Alberto seems to have a bit of advantage, Chip, as they come off the exit pin.
Dave Villwock giving away that lane one, had to make sure that he wasn't ahead of him at the start, but he let Steve David get a better start, and now he's going to have to work really hard to go around him on the outside, but it looks like he might get it done.
He's got it by about a boat length now as they enter into the upper corner for the first time. Oh, Elam loses the skid fin and loses a little bit of ground as a result of going over those parallel rollers in the corner, and Steve David pushes him outside just a little bit without violating the lane and comes down to the start-finish line, a half a rooster tail ahead as they come across the line at the end of lap number 1, and this was a fast one, Pat.
First lap at 145.784 miles an hour. That's screaming.
They're really screaming for competition into that lower corner again. Here is a real duel, Chip. Carry him through.
Well, unfortunately, Dave Villwock got into that rough water right there, and look at what that did. It set him way back, and Dave Villwock might have made a big mistake by letting Steve David have that inside lane.
And he's kind of kicking himself, and he's also keeping the throttle down as he comes up on the outside again. But he's got a tougher time this time trying to catch Steve and David. They look a little closer in that particular corner than they really are from the angle that we're looking at them. But out of the corner now, Steve David again trying to push Dave Villwock out just a little bit. Still about the same margin at the end of lap number 2 as at the end of lap number 1. Although this time Steve David is seeing less and less in the mirrors and more right out the side window as they come charging into that corner for the third and final time.
Steve David's got to have a good corner here, and he's got to hope Dave Villwock hits some of that rough water, but Dave Villwock stays up. Dave, we're getting into the rough water again, had to go out, and that might have given Steve David the little advantage he needs, but it's going to be tight.
Now he really pours it on, Pat.
Oh, they're bow to bow. This is an unlimited hydroplane race to be remembered. Turned the last lap at 148 miles an hour. Call it through that corner, Mike.
He found his way back to the front this time, Dave Villwock did, and this time he's going to have to try to keep Steve David pinned. And again, Steve David pushes him out a little bit, regains the lead off the exit pin. Here they come down to the start-finish line. This is going to be just pure horsepower, and that'll belong to the orange boat. And Dave Villwock wins Heat 1B. Right behind him, it's the old boy Alberto. Very tight race.
Villwock turned that last lap at 147.8 miles an hour.
And Chip, despite it getting into that rough water in those corners, Dave definitely has a little more beans under the bonnet.
He does, and Dave did a really good job. He, here comes we've got who's that finished in third, Mike?
That's the Albert Lee coming through in third place now, and that's Brian Perkins. And we got a good battle between David Williams and Jimmy King for fourth and fifth, and David Williams will take the measure of that one as he brings the U9 across the Jones Racing and the last boat across the line, the U3 Grandview on the lake.
Yeah. Villwock really needed to make that work, and he worked his rear end off. Giving away that inside lane, you are really being very confident that you've got a great boat and that you're going to have really good water in lane 2. He didn't really have that great of water in lane 2. You saw him get to the corner with Steve David a number of times side by side. He'd hit some rough water, it'd force him out, and Steve would get the lead again.
So there's your unofficial winner in the Elstrom Elam Plus, Dave Villwock, looking for a 10th win here at Seafair. Let's head down and hear from David. Here's Guard.
David, it was funny. I've been down here watching the race, and you win, and one of your crew members yells out, "Why'd you wait for the last lap?"
Well, we just tried to use as much of it. It was a hard race, and I think Steve David and I put on a great show for the fans. And I was running as hard as I could, and he would hit a patch of bad water, and he'd move ahead a little bit, and then I'd hit a patch of bad water, and I'd move ahead a little bit. And I just found a good lane through the last lap, and managed to fly the boat. You can probably see it in the back straightaway. I had both sponsors in the air about 2 feet to get by him, but we did get by him, and what a race. That was fun.
It was all about speed down that back stretch, wasn't it? And when you hit the finish line.
Yeah, the guys did a great job with the boat. We just packed the mail, and just ran that thing down there as hard as deep as we could, and it stuck.
Great job.
Thanks.
Rabes, back to you.
400 points, unofficially at least at this moment, for Dave Villwock. 300 goes to Steve David. He's with Jenny Hope. Again, here are your official results now. Muckleshoot official results from Heat 1B. The Elstrom, Oh Boy Alberto, Miss Albert Lee, Jones Racing, and Grandview on the Lake. That's Heat 1B.
Heat 1B of the Chevy Cup at Seafair has been brought to you by Comcast. If you have home phone service, Comcast could save you money. Call 1-800-COMCAST.
Congratulations to Dave Vilwalk and the Elstrom Elam Plus, the Geico Photo Finish winner of Heat 1B. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit us at geico.com.
And when we come back, the awards for those two heats right here on the shore of Lake Washington. Don't go away.
In high definition, you're watching the Chevrolet Cup at Seafair on KIRO 7.
Time now to recognize the drivers and the teams in Heats 1A and 1B from yesterday. Here we go down to the awards ceremony.
Thanks, Steve. Welcome back to the Chevrolet Cup Awards stage. It is time to hand out our first hardware of the day. This one for Unlimited Hydroplane Heat 1A, presented by Graham Trucking, the intermodal container solution. And here to make the presentation, Rob Graham couldn't be here, but he sent his two sons, very capable, Troy and Derek Graham, to make our winner's presentation.
I'm Troy Graham. On behalf of Graham Trucking, I'd like to congratulate Jeff Bernard and the U5 FormulaBoats.com team for a great race and winning Unlimited Heat 1A. Thank you.
Yeah, I want to thank my sponsors, FormulaBoats.com, and my whole crew. We struggled during the race or qualifying, and they always give me a race boat. And last but not least, the Chevrolet Cup and Graham Trucking, our sponsor for the U7, my teammate. So really cool to win the heat sponsored by Graham Trucking, and we're going to hang this up proud in the truck. Thank you.
Here we are back again at the Chevrolet Cup Awards stage, this time Unlimited Hydroplane Heat 1B, presented by our friends at KeyBank, proud sponsor of the KeyBank Air Show and Seafair. And to make our presentation this time, I'd like to welcome John Ream. John?
Thank you, Jeff. KeyBank has been a proud sponsor of Seafair and the KeyBank Air Show since 2002. On behalf of our over 1,700 team members that work and live in Washington, KeyBank, congratulations, Dave, on running a great race. And
Thanks a lot.
Wish you the best of luck tomorrow.
Thanks. Wow, that's what an honor, and thank you for here. I'll put the Chevrolet hat on you, and I'll put the KeyBank hat on me, and say thanks to all those people that help us race. And it's a fun day today. Hope you enjoyed the show. Boy, it's a heck of a race between myself and Steve David. So there's more to come tomorrow. Right off in the first heat, you're going to see a lot.
Thank you, Dave. Congratulations again. Another great race here at the Seafair Chevrolet Cup. Steve, back to you.